Is?
You know, you were sentenced to the gas chamber and then they modified the death penalty. Were you happy when that was done?
Was I happy when what was done?
When you found out that you weren't going to the gas chamber.
You're talking about dying. Now, it gets me nervous.
Why?
Did you have any thoughts about something? Was you wanting to go anywhere?
Were you happy when you found out you weren't going to go to the gas chamber, Charles?
I knew I wasn't going to go to the gas chamber because I hadn't done anything wrong.
You scared to die?
Sometimes I feel I'm scared to live. Living is what scares me. Dying is easy. Getting up every day and going through this again and again is hard. See, I'm carrying a heavy thought. See, the thought I'm carrying is very heavy. Like I'm on a football team and everybody's. And I'm a little guy. I don't have no home team. You got all the home. I got one cheerleader or one coach. See, you got me at a disadvantage because I'm on your ground. See. So, and this is your street, I reckon. You got the cameras and the money and the things. But you can believe me that Bulliosis had you all on a rib. And all them guys that sold you most of that stuff sold you a bunch of things that weren't real. Not to me. We used to have games we would play. On the movie set, we would take on different people. I'd be Riff Raff Rackus. And Steve would be John Jones, just come in from Minneapolis and driving the truck. And we'd just take other people and play act other people. And then we lost track of who we were. And it went off into other dimensions and levels of thought and understanding and comprehensions that were beyond most people's minds, functions, computers, data. So all I did was watch and learn everything I could from everybody I ever met. Then when I got out of prison, I just walked around. I didn't tell nobody to do nothing. I said, do what you want to do. Don't tell me what to do. I don't like people telling me what to do. They just come from a place where they told me what to do all my life. You know, I want to find out what to do for myself, you know. I never did. Not yet. But I was going to take a trade one of these days, maybe learn to be a welder or something. Till I can get to the front gate anyway.
Where people were killed. How did you get involved in that drama?
Well, I was born illegitimately. That put me on the other side of the law. I've been an outlaw ever since I was born. I went to reform school when I was about 10, and I learned to box and cry, and I learned to do all the things that you do in reform school. Then I went to, I escaped there a bunch of times, and I went to prison, and I learned everything that you do in prison. And I talked to all the guys and asked them everything they knew, and they told me all the things they knew. And then I went to the end of it, and then the old man would be ready to die, and he'd say, well, son, sincerity is the best gimmick, remember that. And I said, all right, be sincere, that'll win it. He said, that's it. Sincerity and honesty, he said, it'll do it, it'll trick them every time. I said, well, sincere and honesty, I never tried that. I tried everything else, but maybe I'll try sincere and honesty. So then I looked in the book, and it said, the wages of sin is death. Now I figured, well, I don't want to die, so maybe I have been sinful here. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I'll take a look at my life and say, well, I'm going to change it and start all over. You know, and I know I go to God and I say, hey, man, you're going to forgive me? And he's going to say, what do? You forgive you? I mean, what'd you come to me for? Forgive yourself, man. Don't be bothering me. You know, and I think, well, he must be a big, mighty God, man. He just, you know, he ain't got time. You got to make an appointment or something, you know. So I see the whole aspect of the whole trip for children to play, you know. Then I get stuck in the game of playing the goat here, or the lamb, or some other trip. I was a teddy bear, and then I was a goofball and whatever. And what is the real one? Where's the real one? I don't know where the real one is. It's in a nut word somewhere.
The real Charles Manson, hardly the glowering, sinister, and assertive mastermind that was pictured of his life before and after the Tate LaBianca killings in Los Angeles. The real Charles Manson appears to be confused and frightened. Confused, if you recall his admonition that we look at ourselves to better understand him. Yet each time I pressed him on details about the murders, Manson could not even look at himself, nor his relationships with his mother, his wife, and his son. And he's frightened. During our conversation, you recall Manson said, "I'm living, aren't I? They let me live, didn't they?" Followed by that little nervous laugh. The man does not want to die. I think he's frightened by death, and I think that he is as scared of us as we are of him. I get the feeling he'll be quite content to spend the rest of his life playing mind games in the jailhouse. And I also believe that Charles Manson knows exactly what he's done. A word about what you might think was my belligerence with Manson. I lived in Los Angeles all during his trial. I still live there from time to time, in a quiet neighborhood just across the canyon from where Sharon Tate and the others were murdered. At work by day, I broadcast the 6 o'clock news in Los Angeles, the whole story of the trial, the shaved heads, the car foreheads, the harangues and threats in the courtroom. And by night, I tried to assure my young daughter that, yes, even though the murder house was close by, Charles Manson and company were under lock and key, and there would be no creepy crawlers in the night. So it was that Manson I was listening to, and not the one who now sits alone in a faraway prison, where, barring a most perverse miracle, he will spend the rest of his life. Thank you for watching, and good night, everybody.